Yeah, welcome back. So now we will talk about the another example, another category which is called as classification. So here if you see, there are 5 examples which I will be going to explain you. This classification, so it will be, if you provide the prompt like this prompt is the following is a list of companies and the categories they fall into: Apple, Facebook and FedEx. These 3 companies, these are very famous companies. We know what this does. So I am saying Apple. So and category colon. So the response which I will be receiving is technology. So Apple is a technology company, right? If you see, nowhere it is mentioned that Apple is a technology company. It is giving it the response based on the knowledge base the system has. And second thing he is already mentioning is Facebook category is social media and FedEx category is delivery. Now if you write same stuff on the playground, I am opening the playground here and let's say if I say Microsoft, let's try. I don't know what answer it will give. So if I say Microsoft, so it will model predictive stop sequence, something is wrong. Okay, let's see. I have removed the stop sequence. Yeah, so it is by default saying category is a technology. So you see what I did, I was not knowing about that, but the playground, on the playground by default there was a enter as a stop sequence. So might be in the response there might be enter keyword or something, some character, that's why it has stopped. So this all on the right side, everything you can configure, you can make changes here, you can change the temperature maximum. I have already explained about all this stuff previously. If you have not gone through it, please go through it. In that video I have mentioned what all these settings is all about. Okay, so this was the simple example of a classification. So let's move on to the next video. So next category is advanced tweet classifier. That means it's very smart actually. If you write something, it will find out the sentiments or whatever information. But in this example, you have given the I am asking the sentiments actually. What sentiments in the tweet? Let's say somebody is tweeting, I can't stand homework. So AI will understand it is a negative sentiment. You see at the bottom, this is a sample response which is received negative. This sucks, I am bored. So it will say it is also negative. I can't wait for Halloween. So this is a good thing, that's why it will say it is a positive. I can't wait means the user wants to experience that particular Halloween, and my cat is adorable. So that means positive, right? So if you see here, advanced tweet classifier, it will divide into positive and negative sentiments. Okay, so whatever sentiments are there, it will tell you. So it doesn't need any human intervention. If you ask the AI, it will understand the context and tell you what it is. It's as that simple. If I write something, I am opening the playground. If I write something like let's say, let's remove this, I am not in a mood to play today, and let's see, it should come as negative. Yeah, you see it is negative. So this is what this classifier, advanced tweet classifier, will do. So it's very simple. So this is a sample code, as you know, Node.js, Python, curl and JSON. Until today they have given only 4 samples. They mainly focus on Python basically actually, but Node.js samples are also provided by them. Even if you want in any other languages, you can get the information from ChatGPT only, so that it will give you the conversion. I have already explained how code converter works. Actually ChatGPT has code converter, it also works. So let's move on to the another next example. Okay, so the next this example is keywords. So in this example, what user is asking is to extract the keyword from block of text. Means there are so many, let's say there is a paragraph of 1000 characters or 2000 words or whatever, a big paragraph, and you don't have time or you want the keywords, important keywords are used. So it will give you this kind of keywords like 20th century, 21st century, Napoleon, American ceramic artist, and whatever category, like you can try to send any paragraph, it will give you the keywords out of it. So you can try this also, and you can try if these use cases of any importance to your company or client. Let's move on to the next example. It is a factual answering. I think this is very straightforward, and it will give you the whatever answer depend on the information which ChatGPT have. So user is asking what is the language model. He has not trained here specifically. If you go through it, he has not trained, but he will answer correctly what is the language model and all. After that, let's move on to the same thing which I have shown you, advanced tweet classifier. So this is the same, but they have named it as a tweet classifier. The earlier was the advanced tweet classifier. So here if you see, user is saying I loved the new Batman movie, and chatbot is saying it's a positive sentiment. Okay, I am asking the sentiment here. Okay, I could ask the language also. Let's try with that. Let's see if it says English. Yeah, so it's a English and it's a positive. So okay, so you got the sentiment as well as the language which user is writing here. Let's try something else. Okay, let's remove this. Let's see if it gives Hindi or what. Yeah, you see it has given Hindi because I have typed आज मैं खाना नहीं खाऊंगा. This is a Hindi word. Most of you must be knowing about it, whoever is watching my video. So it is saying it's a Hindi and neutral. So neutral means it's not a positive, not a negative, it's a neutral thing, like, okay, no hard feeling or something. So this was the classification examples. So let's move on to the, I will explain the other also other classification also. Okay, other examples. Sorry. Okay, thank you. So welcome back again. So this is the examples from ChatGPT regarding code. In this example, if you see, there are different type of options. I will explain everything which will be related to the coding and programming. So let's go through one by one. This is natural language to OpenAI API. So here what user has done is, if you see here, this is the prompt. In this prompt, user has written something in the plain text. This is the natural language. Okay, and also it has given what functions it wants ChatGPT to take and work on. So you see here, OpenAI.completion.create. Then he has written something, given some comments and whatever, and said instructed ChatGPT to create an OpenAI completion starting from the prompt once upon an AI, and it should not be having more than 5 tokens, and it should not include the prompt. Okay, so what it does, you see, maximum tokens is automatically, you see, it's a 5. Echo is false. Actually echo is by default false. What echo does is, whatever you write as a token, you send as a prompt, so it will reply back, and whenever it replies back, it will add those number of tokens also. That's why echo must be false always. If you don't want it, don't use that variable and make it false always. Okay, so it has given the response as this, whatever instructions are given in the natural language. So it is very straightforward stuff. Code is also given for that. Okay, so whatever natural language you want to write, this is a small example, but you can write very big example also, very big code base or natural language instructions also. So let's move on to the another Example, it's a natural language to Stripe API. Now this one, what happens is same thing. So what will it do? Whatever natural language instructions you will give it to OpenAPI ChatGPT bot, it will create the code out of it for Stripe API. If you see carefully, it has used this, called this stripe.token.create. So you need to execute this Stripe plugin actually in this package, whatever is the language, depending on that, maybe it's a Python or Node.js or whatever, and then it will make sure that it will work for you. Okay, so it's as simple as that. It will convert the natural language into the program. Let's move on to the another. So this is a SQL translate. What it will do is, whatever information you provide, let's say there is a very complex query which you want ChatGPT to write for you, so you need to provide it into the natural language. So whenever you provide the natural language information, let's say here if you see, first of all the structure is given. If you see carefully, employee, its ID, name, department ID, whatever, it's the table information. Department contains ID, name and address. Salary payments contains ID, employee ID and amount and date. These four columns. Whatever. So these three different tables are there, and what user is asking is to write a query to list the names of the departments which employed more than 10 employees in the last 3 months. So it will write down this SQL query automatically out of the understanding, calculations and understanding, because of whatever information you have provided. Based on that correct table name, it will write correct joins, it will use and give you the SQL statement. So this is very important for the developers who are confused for the query, what to write and what not to write. If there is an error or something, so they can utilize this use case also. Let's move on to the next step. Next step is, so this is Python to natural language. Now this is interesting. You are writing the Python code, or let's say you are giving the Node.js code also. Whatever code you give, it will give you the explanation of that code, whatever that code is doing, like what kind of variables it is using, what function it is using, what is for each loop or whatever loop it is going through. Everything it will explain in the very simple natural language which human can understand. Okay, this is the code. For understanding this code, a person must be a developer or coder, or at least some technical information background he must have. But to understand this, a person should not be anybody, right? So let's say this use case you can use wherein you have some code but you don't know what it is doing. So you can copy paste that code and ask ChatGPT to explain you. So it will explain you accordingly. Let's move on to the next category, next example. It is the calculate time complexity. So if you provide any code, whatever language ChatGPT understands, so it will calculate the complexity based on the code which you have written. So if you want to gauge somebody or find out if the person is writing correct code or not, you want to analyze the interview results and you don't want to use any human intervention, you don't want to use any person, you can create a software and candidate can write a code and you can send to ChatGPT through API and understand if that person has written good code or not. Maybe understand whether that code is running or not. That is another use case. It can find out the complexity of the function, like if it is efficient or not. So it's very, very interesting stuff. Whoever wants to get the use case, like there are some interview companies which schedule the interviews. They can give their companies, their customers, their clients end-to-end service, like arranging the interview and understanding this based on what user is writing. So I hope you understand this also. Let's move on to the next part. This is a translate programming languages. So translate programming languages is very, very straightforward. if you want a code base, a piece of code, you have a piece of code in some language, let's say Python, and you want that same code base to be written in the JavaScript. So you need to write a statement like this, translate this function from Python to JavaScript. This user has written Haskell. So if you see, this is a Haskell response chatbot has responded with. So this is the very good use case wherein if you don't understand the code and you want a replacement of the code, then you can provide the code base in particular language and ask ChatGPT to respond with the another language. Let's move on to the another stuff. Let's say this is the explain code example. Very straightforward. By naming convention, you understand what it is doing. Here, if you see, this is a big piece of code. Not very big, but quite big, maybe 50 lines or something. This code, when I am providing to ChatGPT and asking him providing this prompt, what ChatGPT will do, it will explain what that code is doing in a couple of lines. You can write down in a detailed way, concise way, whatever. So user has asked in a concise way, that's why it has given the small, explanation. But if you want in a detailed way, it will, go through each line and explain everything about it. So this is the code explainer, which you can very easily create using the ChatGPT. Okay. Now I'm moving on to the bug fixer. This is also very interesting stuff. Wherein, let's say you are writing some code in any language. You are writing some code and you are not able to understand what is the bug. So you can provide this code as it is, and ChatGPT will respond back with the correct code. This is very interesting actually. It will save a lot of time. So you can use this use case. It's very, very good way actually, and it supports many languages actually. So don't worry about it. Whatever language you are writing the code in, let's say React.js, Node.js, Python, Java, .NET, whatever, you can provide and you can say give me fixed code or something. It will respond with the working code and you can try it. So let's move on to the next stuff. It's a JavaScript helper chatbot. Interesting stuff again. What it does is you can ask him how to combine arrays and it will say concat method. This is a JavaScript method actually. If you ask how do you make an alert appear after 10 seconds, so it understands that set timeout method is there in the JavaScript which calls the functions after the 10 seconds or whatever seconds you will mention, it will apply that function after that particular number of seconds. So this will help you to write in code. Okay. So after that, JavaScript to Python, as the name suggests, it's very, very clear cut that this sample JavaScript expression to Python I want. That's why I'm giving this code, and it will come return back me this code. This is a Python and this is a JavaScript. Okay. So let's move on to the next stuff. It is I want the system to write the docstring, which is kind of comments, okay, in the Python. So I will ask the chatbot to write down the docstrings of the above function. You see here the prompt, it says elaborate high quality docstring of the above function. So it creates this output actually. Okay. So it is also very, very important for developers if they want comments or docstrings. After that, last thing in this category, it's a one line function. So if you provide the code, this one, and you ask get the same stuff in one line, if you see here, it has changed the code into this syntax and it will work. If you execute this code, it will work actually. It has converted into some array kind of syntax and use the arrow function and no need to return because there is only one variable. So I think React.js and Node.js, whatever JavaScript developers are understanding what I'm saying, but you can use this use case also. In code conversion, you can say one liner function, you can say whatever you want. So this is all about the code example. Okay, in the case. So let's move on to the another section after this video. Thank you very much. Welcome back again, friends. This is the examples category of chatGPT API, and here we are going through the conversation example. This is the category of conversation. It's very straightforward. I will explain you everything what chatGPT can do in this category. So if you see the first category, which is question and answers, so interestingly, you don't need to provide the information to it. You can ask the questions, and if system don't have information about whatever thing you are asking, it will just say unknown. Okay, because in the prompt you have mentioned that way, you see here. And if the person is asking very straightforward questions which knowledge base ChatGPT already has, it will provide the answer accordingly like this. So user is asking what is human life expectancy in the United States. So it is saying human life expectancy is 78 years. So this is nothing but whatever information ChatGPT have, it is telling you. So if you ask the Prime Minister of India, since ChatGPT have information about it, it will return with the Prime Minister's name. So this is the question and answer section. It is very clear to understand what it is doing. Okay, so it will, if it does not have information, it will say unknown. If it has information, it will provide that information. If it asks some nasty questions or nonsense questions, so that way, for that it will not respond negatively or bad way. It will say unknown. That's it. So this is the instructions given to the ChatGPT. Let's move on to the another example. This is the factual answering. Again, the kind of similar stuff only, but it will respond with the question mark if you don't have knowledge about that particular asked instructions. So this, if you see Dev's head 9, whatever the text, it has nothing in the knowledge base, so it is giving question mark as answer. If this chatbot have information about the question which is asked, so it will very cleverly answer about it. If you see, you don't need to provide it, ChatGPT will automatically give, because it has lots of knowledge about the world. So user is asking what is a language model, so it is responding with this text, definition of language model in the simple language. Okay, so this was the use case. You can use it in your program wherever you want. Let's move on to the another category. It is JavaScript helper chatbot. So you can see here, it is asking the JavaScript questions and it is responding like whatever functions it is doing. Like for example, how do I combine arrays? It will say concat. So friends, you need to understand that one kind of example can come into multiple categories also. So you might have observed that similar kind of explanations are coming in some different categories, so it can happen. Okay, so don't worry about it. Let's move on to the another example. This is a QA style chatbot about the language models. So we need to ask the questions about the language models here, because it will answer in that way only. So whatever is the, let's say user is asking what is a statistical model, it is telling about the statistical model here only. So this is the use case related to the machine language or artificial intelligence. Now let's move on to very interesting stuff. Not very interesting, but if you don't want to, if you are missing any friend or you want any friendly answer from the chatbot, so you can do the emulation or simulation, you can say. So this chatbot will reply as if he is your friend. So you are asking what have you been up to? He's saying watching old movies. Did you watch anything interesting? So ChatGPT will respond, yes, I watched an old classic called this Casablanca something. It was pretty good. So this is a friend chatbot which will reply as a friend, like the two friends talk to each other, the same way it will reply. Let's move on to the next example. It's a chat. So here the chat is let's say in the prompt it is mentioned that it's a AI assistant. which is helpful, creative, clever and very friendly. So when you say, you inform that you are very clever, you are friendly, you are creative, whatever, and you ask the question, depend on that it will answer. So you are only saying I would like to cancel my subscription. So what it will answer is, since it is helpful, creative, clever and very friendly, so what it will do is, it will very cleverly say, I understand, I can help you with the cancelling your subscription, please provide me with your account details so that I can begin processing the cancellation. So all these 4 characteristics it considers and answer accordingly. So this is the chat example. Now in this category, the last and very nasty type of example, let's say this is a sarcastic chatbot, and it will not give you answer very straight way. Like if you ask this system what is the time, it will say something nasty and say you don't have watch, or you see what time is it, so it is saying it is always time to learn something new, check your watch for the actual time. It is not answering, it is asking you, because this is the sarcastic chatbot. So it will not answer you in very straightforward and very clever or very polite way. It will, kind of, if you see the questions and answers, you will really understand. How many pounds are in the kilogram? So it is saying this again. There are 2.2 pounds in a kilogram. Please make a note of this. So it is saying don't ask me again. That means, what does HTML stands for? Was Google too busy? It is saying why you cannot ask to Google the same question. But it is replying. See, this replies, but it will prefix and postfix something after the answer. This is what I observed actually. Okay. So this is sarcastic chatbot. This also you can implement your code base as per your requirement. Okay, so let's move on to the next category. Thank you very much. Let's talk about another category, which is nothing but generation. As the name suggests, it will generate answers, response to you. So friends, understand, some examples can be repeated here. So with patience, I will try to remove the examples. So if you see, the first example is question and answer, which I have already done. Grammar correction. So grammar correction is, if you provide any wrong grammatical prompt, it will correct. If you see here, she went to the market, it says she did not go to the market. It's quite straightforward, because it will just correct the grammar and respond back. After that, this is summarized for a second grader, means a small kid. That means in a very simple language, okay, very simple understandable language. So if you look at this prompt, this is a bigger prompt and maybe a little bit confusing if you read this one. But if you see the sample response, it is very simply informing and giving response as if very small student can also understand. And like for example, Jupiter is the 5th planet from the sun and is very big and bright. So this is very simple language, but if you read this one, this is quite confusing and little bit more number of characters over here. Okay, so let's move on to the another use case. It's a text to command. So whatever text you will write, it will use command for that actually. Okay, so this is the use case. This is the prompt if you see here, and this is the sample response it is given. Find sky, store something, this is creating the command for that actually. Okay, after that, English to other languages, it's also very straightforward. You are asking chatbot to give particular English statement into the different languages. It will respond back in 3 different languages. Okay, so let's move on to the category parse unstructured data. So what this use case is, you are writing some paragraph and asking these 3 things: fruit, color and flavor. So what system will do, it will extract the information from here and let's say these are the fruits, these are the color: purple, blue, green, pink, orange, and flavors. So candy flavors, savory, cotton candy, whatever, acidic and caustic. So it will extract and create in this format. You are asking like pipe separator you have given, and it will respond in the same manner. Okay, so this is the parsing unstructured data to you. Let's move on to the another thing. This is the movie to emoji. So you are writing some movie name, let's say Batman, or in Hindi you can say Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. It's very interesting. I have tried this also. You can see here actually. Let's Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. I don't know how this chatbot English understands Hindi, but let's see what it does. It is a person is happy and person is sad, so like that. Okay, and Dil Wale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. So this is Hindi movies actually. Hindi people can understand very easily. So Dil Wale means heart, and Dulhaniya, lady, is showing like a bride, and the groom, like that. So this will convert your text into this kind of emojis actually, movie names into these emojis, and whatever you want. Let's say you want to play a game with your friends, you can transform it and ask them to transmit back. Don't tell the movie name, you can just show them and ask them to convert back, so they will do. Let's move on to the another example. It's a factual answering. I think I have already done this. This is another example, which is add from product description. So in this example we can give the prompt wherein we will explain something whatever we want actually, and it will create the description for that actually. Okay, so here user has given whatever prompt or product information in 1 line, 2 line, and has created very nice product description, so that people can understand and gets attracted to it. Let's move on to the another option. It's a TLDR summarization. Okay, so this means a bigger topic or whatever paragraph which I'm not going to read too long, and did not read something. So this is the long format, this TLDR, too long, did not read. So it will create the sample response, shorter sample response, which you can read and understand whatever is written here actually. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to write down a paragraph, and after that you need to write TLDR. So it will respond back with the shortcut, which will save your time. Okay, this is very important for the busy people and the people who don't want to spend much time actually, and they want to understand the context. Let's move on to the next up. This is nothing but a Python bug fixer. It's straightforward. You can provide any bug and ask the chatbot to fix that bug. It will find out the cause, find out the bug, and reply the well working code actually. This is that interesting. After that, spreadsheet creator. This is the example of spreadsheet creator, wherein I am asking that I need science fiction movies and the year of release. So what it will do is it will give you in this format, title and year of release. So this, if you copy paste, you can save in the CSV, and it will be saved in the CSV format, because it's a spreadsheet creator. Okay, let's move on to the another example. It's a language model tutor. I think I have already covered this. Science fiction books lister. So I have given a command to list 10 science fiction books, and it has created this sample response. Okay, that is straightforward again. Yeah, this is very interesting. This is related to the companies which work in the airport or in the transportation domain. Here what chatbot is doing is, I am asking, I want to fly from Los Angeles to Miami, and I am saying airport codes, so it will say lakhs and MIA. So these are the real airport codes actually. If you see, I want to fly from Orlando to Boston, it will say MCO BOS. So these are the two airport codes which we can use in our code or whatever for booking the tickets online. So this this way, this airport code extractor is responding with the airport code. So you can use this use case also. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah, so friends, welcome back. In this example, I will show you this example, which is extract contact information. So this is the prompt, and I am asking it to provide the contact information. So it is automatically finding the name and the address, if you see here. So it is extractor kind of, it has it is mentioned here actually, extract the name and mailing address from this mail. So it will analyze this context and find out the name and the address. So address is here, mailing address is this. Okay, so this is the use case. After that, mode to color. So this example, mode to color, is we are providing the prompt, the CSS code for a color like a blue sky at dusk. So this is kind of a natural language, right? Blue sky at dusk, and it will provide you the color code actually. You see, background color hash, it will provide the color code. This is very smart actually. You can provide any color, like provide any color of mango, it will automatically give you yellow color. So this is the use case. Okay. After that, analogy maker. So analogy maker means it will create the analogy and respond back with the details. So this is the prompt wherein you are saying create an analogy for this phrase. The phrase is questions are arrows in that, and it will continue and provide the analogy like questions are like arrows in that they both have the power to pierce or something, whatever. This is the analogy it has created. Okay. So after that, micro horror story creator, wherein user wants chatbot to create the horror story, and if you see here, it has created and written that the wind howled through the night, shaking the windows of the house with the sinister code or something, whatever actually. So this is kind of. Hi friends, welcome back. So this is the example of third person converter. If you see, this comes under three categories: transformation, generation, and translation. So whatever the prompt you are writing here it is mentioned that convert this from first person to third person. Gender should be female. And the question is, the prompt is, I decided to make a movie about Ada Lovelace. Okay. So it will say she decided to make a movie about Ada Lovelace. So if this is a gender male, the system would have done he decided to make a movie. So this is converting into the kind of third person kind of converter. Okay, so you need to understand that. You can use this accordingly. Let's move on to the next one. In this example, if you see, it's a node to summary. So it comes under two categories: transformation and generation. So it turns meeting node to summary. Let's say you have given the shortcuts. Tom profits up 50%. Jane, new servers are online. Jane, need more time to fix software. Jane, happy to help. Parkman, beta testing algorithm. So it will write you kind of minutes of meeting. If you provide this and say convert my shorthand into a first hand account of the meeting. If you provide this prompt, it will respond with somewhat this output response. So it will provide clearly that Tom reported that profits had increased by 50%, whereas it was only mentioned that profits up 50%. Who is saying? Tom is saying. So like that. So this will create a summary out of your shorthand notes, a shortcut notes. Let's move on to the next option. So it is saying we are fitness idea generator. virtual reality idea generators. So you are saying create ideas for fitness and virtual reality games. So the prompt is brainstorm some ideas combining VR and fitness. So what it will do is it will provide you some ideas into the whatever prompt you are asking about. Okay, so it will be only talk about VR fitness idea generator. Okay, it will generate the idea. Let's move on to the next option. Next example, it's an essay outline. So wherein you are not giving much information, but you are saying create an outline for an essay about Nikola Tesla and his contributions on to technology. So you are saying create an outline. So what it will do, it will not write any essay, paragraph, nothing. It will just, what it will do, it will provide the outline only, introduction, who was Nikola Tesla, overview of his contributions to technology, early life, and whatever. So if you answer this question, it will be kind of every information about Nikola Tesla. So it is giving you the outline, essay outline. It is not giving you essay. It is just giving the essay outline. This is the difference. Let's move on to the another example. So this is also interesting. This is a recipe creator actually. So the documenter also saying it at your own risk because chatbot is suggesting the recipe actually. Okay, what you are doing is you are sending a prompt saying write a recipe based on these ingredients and instructions. So these are the Frito pie you want actually. Okay, these are the ingredients, Frito, chili, whatever. Okay, you are providing these inputs and expecting, and as soon as you say instruction and send the information, it will respond with these steps, what to do, how many degrees you need to use oven, and whatever information. Okay, so it has even it is even telling how much baking dish you need to use and like that. Okay, how much time you need to bake it, something like that. So this is not an Indian dish, by the way. If you want, we can create our own dish, whatever, like let's say tea, milk tea. Okay, and if I say milk, I have milk, I have tea, I have pot, I have gas, whatever. Let's say what it replies. Okay, and it is saying begin by boiling 1 cup of water in a pot of stove. Water is boiling at 2 teaspoons. Okay, and then let the tea steep for 3 to 5 minutes. So I have not provided the sugar, so it has not responded with using of sugar. You see, if I write sugar, I think it will respond with the sugar also. Okay, you see the 7 point it generated. So eventually, very fast it understands that in the 6 lines there is no sugar in it. That's why. So this is the very nice example of recipe creator actually. Okay, and after that, you all know this is a chat, and I have already created a small video on this. Let's skip this. I have already created on this. Okay, so this is the new example called as turn by turn directions. If you see this turn by turn directions, it has you provide this prompt actually. It will convert your natural language to turn by turn directions. Okay, so you have given this natural language, go to south 95 until you hit sunrise, whatever is mentioned, it will give you step by step information to you like Google Maps provides. So this is that. Okay. Now this is another example wherein it will create a restaurant review for you actually. It comes under the generation category. So this is the usage of this, turn a few words into a restaurant review. The prompt is write a restaurant review based on these notes. So name, the Blue Wharf. Okay, lobster, great, noisy, service polite, price good, review. So if you provide this shortcut, it will provide you this sample response. I recently visited the Blue Wharf and had a wonderful experience. The lobster was excellent and the price was very, very good. The only downside was the noise level, but the polite service more than made up for it. Happy and highly recommend. So
this is the restaurant review creator you can utilize in your code. Okay, whenever you want to do use case, you just need to provide this kind of prompt along with that. Okay, so this will automatically work whatever you want. So the next category is to create the study notes, and it comes under the category of generation. So you need to provide the topic and get study notes accordingly. So here if you see, user is asking for 5 key points while studying ancient Rome. So the sample response is these 5 key points related to the Roman stuff, whatever Roman things are there, like Roman Empire, Roman Republic, Roman military, whatever. So you can create any kind of topics out of this, like take any topic and get the detailed descriptions about that. Let's move on to the last thing, and very interesting for the developers. This is interview questions. You can find out, or you can get any number of interview questions for any particular programming languages or whatever technology or whatever topic you want. So here if you see, user is asking for 8 questions for my interview with a science fiction. So he is getting the sample response, 8 points he has received from the chatbot. So this comes under the category of generation. So it provides you the interview questions actually. Okay. So this examples of generation is done. Let's move on to the another topic. Thank you very much for the